welcome to another episode of Houston Moms on the Move. This is a series created by Houston Moms to bring you moms who are doing big things in the workplace and at home. It's designed to inspire, encourage, and just know that you're not alone in these trenches of the things we call motherhood. It is my complete joy to share with you our next guest, Coppelia Acevedo. Gosh, did I get it?
Acevedo, yes.
Okay. We're so close. We were just chatting off screen that I grew up in Dallas, Texas, and took French, which was super helpful for being in the Texas area. But Coppelia used to be a contributor for Houston Moms, and you probably, as soon as she starts talking, you are going to recognize her voice. You have heard her on KSBJ. She is now back in Houston with KSBJ's sister station, and she's going to share all about that and her journey. And Coppelia, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you just not on like the gram.
I know, right? Yeah, I love following you on Instagram. It's
Thanks.
so funny. I love it, Megan. Thanks for the invitation. I have been thrilled to be a part of the Houston Moms blog community back when I did it. And then you introduced me to Christy when she was at Orlando Mom blog when we moved to Florida. So City Mom Collective, I've been a part of it for a bit. So I've been very grateful to do that.
I forgot about that completely too, that when you went to Orlando, like you connected there and you were
It
doing
was
big things
awesome.
for
And you were
them.
so sweet because you connected me to Christy, who was the one in charge at that time. And then it switched to Erin, and I got to work with both of them. And I love connecting through social media with other moms. And it was just such a great way, being new to Florida, to just have that already set, like be like, let's jump right in with a blogging community and of moms, which,
Yes.
that's what
And
it's
here
all
we
about.
are. Well, that's such a blessing to my heart. I love to hear that. I always think of one of the first photo shoots that we had, and you walked up, and I think like I knew obviously from your resume that you had submitted that like you were you, but then so you said your name, and I'm like, stop. I listen to you every morning.
That's
And
so
it was
great.
so fun. So tell everyone what you're doing now, because it's similar, but a little like you're still in radio, but it's different.
Yes. So crazy enough, this is my 30th year in radio, if you can believe it. People are like, did you start when you were 3? No. But thank
That's
you.
what I'm saying.
No, so I started in radio like in college, part-time job, like I'm not thinking it's gonna be a career or anything, but God had other plans. So in 2011, I always say God opened a door. We were able to move to Houston. We had gone from Puerto Rico, where I was born, to California, and I had been doing radio there. And somebody reached out and they were like, hey, there's an opening at the KSBJ morning show. I am not a morning person. So I was like, oh, thanks, no thanks, I'm good. And God was like, actually, yes, you're coming and I'm going to help you. Because I was like, well, the Lord might need to wake me up in the morning because I like. So 2011, we took that big leap of faith. My son was going into kindergarten. So we're moving for his kindergarten year. And my daughter was like 1 year old. So it was a big, big change for us. But, when you take those leaps of faith and you go where God calls you, He's got you. So we saw my son thrive in kindergarten. We found this little school in Kingwood, like Deerwood Elementary. And shout out to Deerwood. They're amazing, the Deerwood Dolphins. I loved that school for my children. I love the community in Kingwood. Like it just was amazing. And so I started on KSBJ mornings, and then we had a season where I was doing afternoons, and then I came back to mornings. So it was kind of fun to, do different things with the radio ministry. Fast forward to 2016, and I've shared before that my husband had a brain tumor. And I was like, before that happened, he had a brain tumor in 2004, our first year of marriage. So I'm giving you like the big story, Megan. Stop me if I need to like go back
You're
somewhat.
good.
So 2004, we get married. He had a brain tumor, and I'm thinking, great, I just got married. I'm going to be a widow. But we saw God do a miracle, and, God healed my husband, Adam, in 2004. 2016, we're here in Houston, and he gets another tumor, not really related to the first one that happened in 2004. So it was like, we're doing this again, but in a weird way. And now we have kids, but we were here at MD Anderson. So I'm like, if it's going to happen anywhere, might as well be here. And
Yeah.
it was incredible to see him wake up from that surgery with his left side where he couldn't move it. And like a week later, he's walking and he's fine. And even one of the nurses at MD Anderson was like, is that the guy from that room? Like, that can't be the same person. And we were like, well, we've got people praying. So total miracle. And that year, 2016, I was like, you know what? I'm done with radio. I'm not doing it anymore. Left KSVJ. A lot of people were like, where did Coppelia go? I was like,
Yeah.
I'm out. So we were dealing with that health situation. I was working at my church. Shout out to Second Baptist. Love those people. And there was a time where God was like, I'm calling you back to radio. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But I ended up going back to one of KSBJ's sister ministries called Engine Radio, back when
Yeah.
we had a signal at 91.7 in Houston. And I remember thinking, Engine was kind of a side, kind of hip hop music, very different from KSBJ. And it was so fun. It was like a Zumba class the whole time. Like the music was very different, and it just was like, I got to be more of a hyper Latina fun person on the air. Not that I wasn't on KSPJ, but it was a different season. And I feel like, God took that year that was crazy and horrible, 2016, kind of give me a little break and ease me back into, radio. So after I did Engine in 2019, we moved to Florida. And I was doing a radio station there that was like KSPJ, same Christian music type format, called The Z in Orlando. And my sister was there with my niece and nephew, so I got to connect with family. Eventually, because my sister and I were there, my parents moved. So they were like, family time. So my mom, dad, and grandma moved to Florida. And we all lived within about an hour of each other at that point. And it was an interesting season because we landed there in 2019, brand new, still trying to figure out Florida life. And then the pandemic happened. So yeah,
Lots of togetherness.
the pandemic happened. I was still on the air. So I was considered essential. So I didn't get to quarantine. We were still going to work. Like it was wild. And trying to work in person, like going to the radio station, and my kids were virtual schooling at home, and it was just chaos. So that was a hard time. If you're a mom and you went through the pandemic and it was hard, I mean, my kids went from A's, honor, classes to D's and F's. It was horrible.
Yeah.
So coming out of that took a while, but we stayed in Florida till 2023. It felt like it was just a very gradual recovery process from the pandemic. And then when the door opened for us to move back, I was gonna come back with the same ministry that KSBJ is a part of, but I was gonna work with the Spanish ministry called Vida Unida, who is now on that old Engine signal 91.7. So I was like, okay. And I'm not so much a DJ on the air. I do help sometimes, but I was gonna help with the fundraising aspect. So for me as a mom, it was amazing because I had been praying. It was my son's senior year when I came back. So we came back and kind of the finish full circle where he started kindergarten, the finish with some of his old friends from elementary and middle school. It was like a dream come true. And I had been praying, like I wanted more flexibility in my schedule for that senior year. And when you're a radio on the air person, there's limited flexibility. So
Yeah.
I, got to do radio. I got to do some of the fun stuff, but being in fundraising behind the scenes, I was able to have some remote days, a little more flexibility that I was like so grateful for because it was exactly what we needed for that year. So, and coming back to Houston, I have to tell you, Meagan, like we lived in Florida 20 minutes away from the Disney parks, and I am a Disney girl. Like
Yeah.
we could see fireworks from our house. Like you could go outside at 9 o'clock on the dot and like fireworks were going off. And you know what you do is you pull up the live feed of the fireworks and you see them and then you watch, like on your phone. My phone is actually the Disney, castle,
Yes, you
Kingdom
are a huge
Castle.
Disney. Yes.
But I have to tell you, like, I loved living there, being an annual pass holder for Disney, like going to the parks for date night with my husband. It was amazing. But we were feeling like when we came back to Houston, it felt like coming back home. And
Mm,
it's so weird. It's like better than Disney. But there's just something about, I mean, you lived somewhere else, and then like once you plug into Houston and you have family and friends and a community, and you go through Harvey, which we did in
yeah.
2017, you go through stuff, you realize the people here are amazing. And I honestly loved coming back.
Well, we are so glad to have you back. I was pretty excited when I saw you were coming back. I did enjoy all of your Disney stuff. I just, um, as someone who's not a huge Disney girl, like we did it twice, like two
That
and
was it.
they can go back on their own time, when they're ready. But, um, we're so glad to have you back. And you have referenced a couple of times. So obviously this month is, Hispanic Heritage Month, which runs September 15th through October 15th, I believe.
Yeah.
And so you're from Puerto Rico, you're in Houston, you're working for the side of KSBJ. Tell us what, Hispanic Heritage Month means to you now being back in Houston.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I did live in Puerto Rico like pretty much my whole life, born and raised, got married there. My husband and I were like, oh, we're staying on the island. And when we ended up moving to California because God opened that door, we've lived in California, we've lived in Texas, we've lived in Florida, like all these Latino hubs.
Yes.
And I feel like it's been such a gift to have that Spanish heritage, have that Latino heritage, being Boricua.
Yeah.
And communicating with people that sometimes, when you're out of your country, you can feel a little disconnected. And every time you hear someone with an accent, it's like, oh, it's one of my people. And it becomes that shared history, that shared culture.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just been really cool to be able to connect in all the different states where we've lived through the radio station. I remember when I started on KSBJ, I was like, I'm not the right person. Like, have you heard KSBJ? It's like not bilingual at all, like what am I
Yeah.
doing here? And I would say words like San Antonio, and like like I would say my name with my accent and all that kind of stuff. And people started coming out of the woodwork where you were like, yeah, we kind of knew Latinos live in Houston, so they're listening to KSPJ. But it was like, oh, she's one of ours. And
Yeah.
it was really cool to have that opportunity, and it's so diverse. So if
Yeah.
you look at the Latino, artwork, the patchwork of all the countries that make up who we are, and you celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month for the moms who don't know that are watching, it celebrates all these different countries' independence days that are like in September and October. So Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, like all these Central American countries, South American countries, they all celebrate their independence days in these two, like months. So it's kind of cool to be like,
Oh.
even if we're not from, Mexico or El Salvador or wherever you're from, it's like, oh, I can still celebrate, like we're Latinos, yay.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of cool to especially see that here in Houston, where if you want pupusas, you can get pupusas. You want tacos, you want, whatever.
Yes.
There's a place in Katy that I haven't been to, but it's called El Chino Boricua. And apparently they have really good Puerto Rican food. So I'm gonna have to go check it out.
Oh, well, let me know when you do. I will meet you there.
That sounds
Um,
like a plan.
Thank you for like, I didn't know that that's exactly what it was. So thank you for sharing that. I will say, so, you were talking about like kind of your accent and like, I'm telling you, that's what people have just like latched onto because that's, it. It's so identifiable and, and I love that you have found people here that are comfortable with that. And I do want to say that Coppelia also did our intro for our old podcast, Cold Coffee Club,
Yeah.
because that's how good her voice is.
Aw.
And we loved it so much. And so, okay, how are you going to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month? Do you have any specific plans?
So I'll have to tell you the story, which is crazy, and it's connected to Vida Unida. So KSBJ sister station in Spanish. Back in May-ish, my daughter was on TikTok and she's like, Mom, we're Puerto Rican, and she's like, I want to go to the Puerto Rican parade in New York. Girl, that parade is ridiculous. It's like a million people. It's crazy. It's flags everywhere and it's loud and it's New York City. And I was like, that's great. And I told her last year, so 2024, Vida Unida had a float. And I don't even know because, oh, this is something that we don't know about Vida Unida if you're new. We're actually a network. So KSPJ is in Houston, but Vida Unida is actually in Houston, Miami, New York, and we have a couple other signals. So we actually are in New York. So
Okay.
our marketing people were like, we're gonna have a float and everything. So that was last year. And I tell my daughter, and this all connects to how we're celebrating. She was like, I want to go to the parade. And I said, oh, Vida Unida had a float on the parade last year. So I asked our promotions guy, Elmer, and I'm like, hey, is Vida Unida gonna be there this year? And he's like, oh yeah, we have a plan to have a float again this year. And I was like, oh, that's great. And I left it at that. I was just gonna tell my daughter, hey, Vida Unida, that station that your mom works for, they're gonna be at the parade. Isn't that cool? Um, from that to my like the program director boss and the promotions guy saying, hey, do you want to go? And I'm like, to the Puerto Rican parade, like on the float in New York City, Fifth Avenue. Like, what? And I was like, well, my daughter really wanted to come. So they were like, yeah, you can bring her.
Stop.
No freaking way. So I was like, this is not happening. We actually, like, I was going to try to make it a whole family trip to bring my son and my husband as well. But it was just like everything came together so quick. They were like, okay, get on the plane, let's go. And we were on the float with Vida Unida down Fifth Avenue, like, and it's a Christian ministry. So we're like, Jesus loves you in the middle, in the middle of New York. And like in Spanish, of course. And I was like, this is wild, that we get to do stuff like that and celebrate our culture and be who we are. In a time where, it's been so dark with so many negative things happening and so much hatred and it's incredible to find those pockets of light. And when
Yeah.
you find them, run with them, like, and I'll be honest, I can be, and I think we can all be with so much violence, like it doesn't matter whoever you are, there's hatred. If you're on the left side or the right side, the Latino side or whatever side, you can probably guarantee that somebody hates you. And I was a little bit scared. I was like, we're gonna be on a float. What if something happens? What
Mm.
if somebody hates Puerto Ricans and like because I know they're out there? Like, what if we're unsafe? It's a parade, it's outdoors, like what do you do in those circumstances? And I was like, I remember we're old enough to remember 9/11, and
Yeah.
I got on a plane the week after. A
Yeah.
plane. I
Yeah.
traveled a week after 9/11 because I had an opportunity to do prison ministry and I was expecting that trip to get canceled. And they were like, no, we're going to Philadelphia. And I was like,
Yeah.
we just fly to New York. That's, the week out. Like, sometimes you really get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Places that you're like, am I gonna survive this? And it makes you stronger. And
Yeah.
like we were there, we had fun. It didn't even cross my mind. Like after the fact, it was like, well, I guess everything was okay.
Yeah.
But
But
it just
isn't that just like kind of a mom thing, sort of, is that we are like thinking about every scenario
yes.
we're putting our kid into. We have pre-planned it in our mind. We
Yeah.
we know how it should go. We have a strategy, an exit plan if need be. That's just, I think that's such a mom life. And one thing that you have spoken about before is that I remember your daughter's food allergies. She was
Mhm.
very allergic, and I know we have a lot of moms who who are listening who have kids with sensitivities or allergies and whatnot. Um, can you share just a tidbit of her journey and how you've had to kind of manage that over a handful of years? Because she's how old now?
Yeah, she's 15,
Okay.
and I my favorite story is she was in preschool. She got diagnosed at 11 months. So I had been breastfeeding her. Yay, breastfeeding. Oh, we
Yep.
can argue about that too, but yay, all moms.
Yay. However, the babies are fed. Bro.
But I did love breastfeeding her. So
Yeah.
at 11 months, we had been having all these issues like rashes and everything, and we couldn't figure out what was wrong. It wasn't colic, and it wasn't this, and it wasn't that. So finally, she gets this big allergic reaction, like broke out in the hives, and we did blood work and found out that she was allergic to like everything. It was like dairy, peanuts, tree nuts. Under peanuts, you have legumes, so she can't eat chickpeas, she can't eat lentils, like it's crazy. So you just have to be careful with a bunch of stuff. But in preschool, she's always been like very bold. She's my bold child. And
Mm.
she went up to the teacher. I can't have the cheese pizza. She's so cute. She's always advocated for herself, and I
Yeah.
love that because sometimes when I was little, I was shy. Like I don't know that I would have done that. But empowering our kids, if you have kids with food allergies, is so important.
Yes.
Letting them know, as young as you can, let them ask questions, read the labels with them. Like, we have this amazing allergist who's very blunt. He's like, listen, people die from this. And I'm like, do we have to go there? But when you start with like, this is life or death serious,
Yeah.
um, I don't joke around. Like there was something in the news recently about some ad, some marketing campaign that was making light of, oh, it's like, here, throw some peanuts at them. And I'm like, no, somebody can die from that. So
Yeah.
I'm big about advocating for yourself. Even sometimes events that I go to, if somebody asks like a gala or whatever we're going to, they're like, hey, what do you have any food sensitivities? I say no, but thank you for asking because my daughter, this is very important to our family. So
Yeah.
anytime I have a chance to speak up or affirm, or if we go out to eat at a restaurant, like always go above and beyond. And I will be forever grateful to my friends that Allison, my daughter's friends, that their parents have been very careful about asking if she's invited to a birthday party. Can Allison have? I remember one of her friends was a nurse. Her mom, the friend's mom was a nurse. And she would text me pictures of the ingredient list. Does this have anything that Allison can't eat? And the people who care about that, man, that means the world. Like, even if you're not a food allergy person, to consider others, it's incredible.
What a gift. I love that so much because I think I'm, as someone who is anaphylactic to eggs and allergic to shellfish, it is terrifying to eat out. And so anytime I go somewhere, I almost apologize. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And or I'll like make a joke. I'm like, yeah, I'm like your most fun party guest. But no one wants me going to the ER. But that's no fun, and nobody wants me, like that would just not be good. And but I love what you said about teaching Allison to advocate for herself.
Yeah,
And that's something, if you've listened to her long enough, y'all know I have a daughter, Quinn, also 15, who was born with a congenital heart defect. And the biggest thing that we're working on with her and have been is is naming it and claiming it, right? So this is what I have. This is what I can do. This is what I'm permitted to eat or to exercise or whatever it may be.
yeah,
But give them that boldness to be like, you know what? I don't think that's what I'm supposed to do.
yeah,
And she's also my daughter is dyslexic, and I loved what you said about your allergist because once you say it, like this is what you have. And like our interventionist for dyslexia was like, you have dyslexia. Now we move on. And you are a person with dyslexia and you can say it out loud. And like now she makes jokes about it. Like she'll be like, she'll mess up on her text and she'll be like, sorry, it's my dyslexia. And like
yeah.
um but what a gift to have them emboldened with that. So,
Yeah.
I know gosh, we have chatted a lot and I have so many more questions, but, um, I would say, what is the biggest thing that has surprised you about motherhood and being a mom of two, especially with like a pretty demanding job, as well as like demanding hours that, have very little flexibility?
Yeah. Oh, that's been the worst part. What has surprised me? That's a great question. I feel like my kids were always surprising me like
Yeah.
every day. They are so different, from like I remember when I was pregnant with both my son and my daughter, like I wonder who they're gonna be.
Hmm.
Because I wasn't always like, oh, we're parents and we're gonna mold our children and like blah, this is who they were taking out into the world. I
Yeah.
always was curious about like what I wonder what they're gonna gravitate towards, and I feel like just seeing them develop and grow into who they are, it's always been surprising to me. Like it's like, oh, my daughter ended up being a competitive gymnast. I didn't see that coming. And my son is so into history. Like he's into like documentaries and he watches these long form YouTube videos and he's actually a history major in college.
Oh,
And
wow.
he's so passionate about making the world better. Like he
Mhm.
is, and I don't know, this is not a political statement, but he's like, why why doesn't everybody have access to healthcare? Why do we have so many people on the streets? Why is housing an issue? Why are all these issues being ignored? And I just love hearing his passion for it. He wants the world to be a better place.
Yeah.
He talks about the people displaced in Gaza, like why are more people not caring about this? And I raised, I'm a KSPJ person. I raised my children in the Christian faith. And I'm like, that's literally what Jesus would want us to do. He wants us to care about the orphans and the widows and feed the hungry and visit those in prison. Like, thank you for listening and doing what Jesus would want us to do.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of
Loving
proud of
the
both my
the
kids.
least of these. I think that, seeing them grow and like become their own little people, like,
Yes, I
and
love that.
as you continue to get those glimpses of who they are and who they're going to be, and they're knowing that they're still going to evolve, it's such a gift.
Yeah.
And I know, like you, like I just thank God every day that I get to witness that. Life with kids is full of surprises, and not always the fun kind. When those unexpected fevers, falls, or late night stomach aches happen, you want to know that your family is in good hands. And that's where UTMB Health comes in. Their clinicians are there when you need them the most, with convenient locations all across the Bay Area, Galveston, and Southeast Texas. Some clinics even offer after hours and weekend care because we all know kids don't exactly stick to business hours. UTMB Health makes it simple to get the care your family needs right when you need it. Now, Pelia, it's time for rapid fire. Are you
Okay,
ready?
I'll try.
Okay. Um, so being back in Houston, you've been back for a couple of years. What is your favorite family friendly restaurant in Houston? What did you do like when y'all like crossed the border and you're like, can't wait to go back to?
We have a few places, but like one of our go-tos as a family, when my son comes back from college, it's like we have to go. It's this place called Little Ginger in Kingwood. Like Little Ginger is our family go-to. If it's like we don't know what to eat, nobody knows what to eat, we're going. They have these little bento boxes, they have sushi, and we love it.
Okay. So is it like a Thai place, Asian place? Like what are we dealing with?
Like a sushi
Like a
place, but
fusion kind of?
yeah, yeah, and it's little, like it's a little tiny restaurant, but real like close to Kingwood Town Center, right in that area. We love
Yeah.
it.
So for those who don't know, by the way, and it's been a minute since I've been up in Kingwood, y'all have a nickname, right? What do they call Kingwood? The
Oh my
living
gosh.
the living forest?
The livable forest. I
The
was like, wait, is
livable.
there another nickname that I should know?
No,
No,
I
but
was
it
just
is
going for the general one.
the livable forest.
The livable forest. Um, so if you have a minute, there obviously it's a livable for forest because tons of trees, like kind of similar to the woodlands, but just you'll have your own little bubble up there. Um, okay, so favorite meal to make that everyone eats.
So we have a funny story with that. I've done Whole30 here and there. Like we try to eat clean every now and then, try to eat healthy. And there was one night that I was like, I don't know what to eat. And we ended up creating this Greek night with like Greek meatballs, homemade tzatziki sauce. And it was kind of like a tapas style. So we had like Kalamata olives and we had grape tomatoes and little cucumbers cut up. And it was like just spread out all over the table. And
Yeah.
I'm a fan of my big fat Greek wedding.
Okay.
Like,
Windex for everything.
Windex for everything. So I don't even know what happened, but we are playing the soundtrack. So it was probably around the time the third movie came out. My husband and I went to see it on a date, and their soundtrack has this song that starts with "Opa," and then they start dancing all Greek. And I don't even know what happened, but we start playing, we start dancing in the kitchen, and we're having Greek night. And that just kind of became our family thing, like Greek night is a thing, but you have to play the Opa song. And it was my son and daughter kept playing it, asking Alexa to play it again and again. That year, because my husband's Spotify is connected to Alexa, it was one of his top 5 songs.
Oh.
He was like, "You ruined my Spotify." And I'm like, "I'm sorry." But yeah, Greek night at the Acevedos is a thing.
I love that so much. And also, I think we can all relate to our children trashing our Spotify like top 10 list because they're listening to whatever they're into at the moment. And you're like, I swear. Now, if it comes out that it's like, for me, now that my daughter's older, like we're still in the like everything is Taylor Swift. So yay, like my Spotify playlist is restored
Yeah.
once we recovered from all of the other soundtracks. But um okay, so thinking about places in Houston that I mean, obviously you get to see this great city from so many different vantage points and and being on the radio and whatnot. Is there one that stands out to you that you love to take the family that you guys all enjoy?
I agree. Like with KSVJ, I had so many opportunities to go to different places. Like we were blessed to do Astros game at Minute Maid, or sorry, Bacon Park. I still call it Minute Maid.
I know. It's MNP
Um,
for life. Yeah.
yeah, we did one Texans game because we lived in California. My husband's a Niners fan, so it was a Niners Texans game at NRG. There's been so many adventures, but I always love Discovery Green. Like
Yes.
I feel like Discovery Green was such a nice place to go. We went ice skating whenever they did ice, on the green or whatever we could Discovery Ice, whatever it's called. Um, so I love Discovery Green, and I guess we're park people because there was a kind of a trick or treat day at Jesse Jones Park.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's Humble or Houston, but it's like not far from Kingwood. And it's such a beautiful, like woodsy park. And they had this trail where you would go and get candy and kids dressed up in costumes. And it was like so much fun. So getting outdoors, I think, has been kind of our family thing.
Well, and I love that. And we are like coming up on the season where we can get outdoors now. Like we're
Yes.
almost not going to pass out if we walk outside. Um, and to double down on the Discovery Green, we love Discovery Green. I do want to mention, because when this episode airs, they have their big pumpkin festival, pumpkin patch thing going at Discovery Green, and I got a notice that it looks incredible, like super Instagrammable photo ops if
Nice.
that's your thing. But also lots to do for the kids, or if you're going on a date night, it also looks super cute. I love that restaurant right there. I just went the other day, at the Grove. It's like right on Discovery Green across from the wall. So yes, we're big Discovery Green people.
I
Um,
love it.
okay, busy mom. Two, one in college, one at home, but who's a competitive gymnast. What does what do you do on your own time? What is your own free time? And also, I will say, like from a challenging health journey still with your husband. So, like, what do you do to just regroup?
So this could be a whole other podcast, but I'll keep it short. So I used to read in middle school and elementary school. I used to read for fun. Like I love Babysitter's Club and Sweet Valley High and all those books. I didn't never got into Nancy Drew, but I've gotten back into fiction reading. And it's been so fun to see all these, like beach reads and bubbly if that's your thing. But I don't know if you ever met Kiki Mojo. So Kirsten used to be a blogger. She's an author now and she goes by Emma St. Clair. So
Oh,
her published book came out, If All Else Fails, and she does like clean rom-coms. And I'm currently reading that one. So I feel like rediscovering reading has been so fun.
mm,
Like in this stage in life, it's like you need some kind of fluff, something to just sit down and do something for you. And it's like I used to love reading and I'm
yeah.
enjoying it again.
I love that so much for you. And I love now because I'm thinking of like books I need to send to you
Ooh.
to read. Because that is very much my escape. I texted my girlfriend yesterday and I was like, it's too much today. And I'm going to give you a recommendation for, like, a mental break. And so I sent her a book idea. But Catherine sent her also. Have you read any of hers?
I think I did. I think I read the one about like what was it called? The one where
It,
the girl has face blindness?
oh, oh gosh, what's the name of it? I know what you're talking about.
I think yeah, that was one of the ones I read. I might have read another one.
The
But
eyes one. Yes. She has the bodyguard. Anyway, she's Houston based
oh, I
author
think
as
I did that
well.
one too. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, you'll have to, and then she has the rom-commers and whatever. But she's also for those girlies who like the clean, Roco. Catherine Center is a fifth generation Houstonian.
That's amazing.
So, and she always has like a bit of Houston in her stuff, which I think is fun to read. So, okay, last question, and it's a big one. We may have already covered it, but we'll see. Um, what's your absolute favorite thing about being a mom?
Oh, everything. I love being a mom. I'm one of those people that I loved being pregnant. Some people hate it. I loved being pregnant. I could have been a surrogate mom.
Can you
I just loved it.
imagine?
I don't know that I
Coppelia
could have
birthed my baby.
I don't know that I could have gotten, like given a baby. And if you've been a surrogate mom, like that's amazing. Like that's a gift. I have a
Yeah.
friend that was a cancer survivor and she couldn't have her own children. And she did have a surrogate daughter and it's just a beautiful story. So I just don't know that I could have, but I love everything about motherhood, about being a mom. I love, like we mentioned earlier, just seeing my kids thrive. Like my son's in Puerto Rico right now. He wants to learn more Spanish, so he went to college there, living with the in-laws. So he's living with grandparents that are spoiling him to death. And
Yeah.
just seeing him go to college and be so brave because he's not fully bilingual. To learn the language, to live there, to,
Mhm.
study there and just pursue his dreams. It's amazing. I love that part of being a mom. And same thing with my daughter. Like she came out of competitive gymnastics and it took a while to kind of figure out what to do next. But
Mhm.
she's thriving in dance and doing ballet and like it just seeing your kids come alive in their dreams and their passions, that's like the best thing ever. I
I
love
love it. And I have to say, so I went to Puerto Rico for the first time 2 years ago for our 20th anniversary. Had never
it. Good choice.
been. And what I was fascinated by, was everyone kind of, there are so many different kind of versions of Spanish on the island. So my husband would fancy himself partially fluent. And then, I mean, but it was so fun to see him, and this may be how you feel too, like for your son. It would be so fun to watch him interact with whoever we were talking to, and he would like all of a sudden it was just like there's this life that came out, and he like was like chatting, and then but then we'd go somewhere else and we'd hear a different version. Is that what your son's kind of experiencing now?
Yes, and I love because my in-laws were with us for the summer. We were all staying in the same house and they came over to our house. But it was so cute whenever my son Christopher would talk to the abuelos, the grandparents, and I'm like, they're all speaking Spanish. Like that's so cool. Because I mean, growing up, we live here, like we're mostly English, and I know that there's some Latino families that do Spanish at home. We're kind
Hmm.
of Spanglish-ish,
Yeah.
so it was really cute to see him like do the Spanish thing. I'm like, ooh, papi.
I love it. And I think we kind of have a similar, well, not some, but sort of similar. Like my husband and son, my son has like an affinity for learning the foreign language, and he is really good at Spanish. And so to hear them chat, so
That's
I
so
can
cool.
only imagine how you were feeling during that moment too, because that's like that's your heritage. Like that's,
Well,
you know,
it's awesome. And now they're mad, like, well, yeah, you should have taught us Spanish more. And I'm like, listen, I bought the workbooks that you didn't want to do. I tried and like you guys didn't like it. So I tried. But I know,
like,
everybody's different. And I actually
yeah,
like that they had a little foundation of Spanish because my husband and I would speak it and we'd go to Puerto Rico for holidays and stuff.
yeah.
Um, Christmas in Puerto Rico is the best. I'll do that. I'll give that little shout out. But it's kind of fun to see them, both my son and daughter want to learn Spanish for them.
Yeah.
Like that now they're invested. Now they're like, I want to, I'm doing this. So
Yes. Well, and then it's not something that you've mandated or forced upon them. It's a desire, and then I'm sure there are hopes that that continues with their own family too.
yes.
Just as, we're in the appreciation of Hispanic Heritage Month. So,
Oh, and yes, I was gonna say you asked me earlier how to celebrate or how we were
yeah.
celebrating, and I mentioned the parade in New York in June. But this week we are making arroz con gandules, one of my favorite Puerto Rican dishes. So if we ever share this, we can do a link to like a recipe or something if somebody wants to try that.
I love it. Say the name again.
Arroz con gandules. So it's basically rice
Okay.
with these things that are pigeon peas, very Puerto Rican, but it's like our go-to, one of our go-to meals. And it's not quite rice and beans because gandules are not beans, but it's
Okay.
like a twist to rice and beans and it's delicious.
Okay. We will definitely, if you will send me the recipe, we'll post it in the show notes. And so we
Yeah, for sure.
can, yeah, so then everyone can make that. It sounds delicious. I think we should. I loved the Puerto Rican food. It was very yummy. Um, Cool. Coppelia, thank you so much for being here today with us and for sharing your time. I know you're so, so busy. Um, but it's good to have more than like just a minute conversation with you on the socials. And thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Megan. It was amazing. And I'm sure we could have gone for like another hour.
Easily. We need like the extra time. I just need to drive up to the livable forest, right? And
Yes. Come on down.
we'll go eat at the sushi place and go do that. So we will be back next month with another amazing Houston Moms on the Move guest. But we hope we continue to inspire and encourage you in this thing we call motherhood. And we will see you next month.